All right, so here we go. This is an interesting one. So this customer, Dr. Bob, very nice guy. Brought his plane to us after he'd had an accident. It had ended up going through a hangar, through to a throttle mishap. Long story. We don't need to go there. Bit of a mess up. But anyway, so his wings were damaged, one in particular, which we will replace with another wing, in fact, that one right there. But this wing was mostly in very good condition, but it did have a leaking fuel tank. So one of the ideas was that we would put a remote tank in the back of the plane, and like you see on the earlier ones, and we would blank off or discard the wing tanks because they're leaking. But then we decided we'll take a look. So what's to lose? So as you can see, what we've done here is I've removed very carefully and strategically a section of the skin without really affecting the structural integrity of the wing. And the idea is that we will put that skin back on. And in this area here, I'll reinforce this area here with plenty of fiberglass and basically a broad plate to glue that back on, and I'll do some work on the outside. Now this top skin of the wing is under compression, of course, so it's not that big a deal. Plus there is a monstrous spar where, if I can get a torch, see if I can turn the light on here. There we go, yep. So you can see in there is a really substantial, it's about a 1/2 inch or more cap strip, and then the spar, and then the same cap strip at the top. All right, so I'm back at it. So, yep, so as I was saying, there's a very substantial spar there, which is an I-section, an I-beam section, which has got about, nearly 5/8, 16 millimetre cap strip, huge cap strip, top and bottom, one there, and the beam. And then that also incorporates the strut there, the anchor point for the strut. So anyway, the idea is that we'll put that back on later, and you can see all the, the cotton flock and micro balloon bonding here. And this is the tank itself, 70 litre tank, and it was leaking right here. See that crack there? And that's where the wing got sort of damaged a little bit, although I'm a bit surprised it transferred its load into that. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But this is where it's weeping. So we'll be easily able to fix that with some epoxy and some fiberglass and grind it all back. And the other thing worthy of note too is this is the attachment point for the wing where it meets the fuselage. And you've got one at the front near the leading edge there, haven't you? But you see here when it was built, and this is a kit aircraft, but the wings aren't assembled you get the wings assembled regardless whether it's a factory built aircraft or a kit. The wings are closed at the factory. Now, I think we can do a little bit better with the bonding there. That's a little bit patchy there, so I think we can make that even stronger. And of course the top skin is glued to this here, and that you carry through. And I'm assuming that the one on the front is the same, but we don't need to touch the one on the front. That hasn't moved. There was really nothing wrong with this wing other than the tank was leaking. So all this is because of the leaking tank. But I'm very confident that we can put this back together without, disturbing the structure of the wing at all. As I said, this top skin's under compression, and we'll be able to beef this area here, run some carbon fibre along that cap strip there. Unfortunately, in my learning curve, that little slit there, the idea was that we would take that entire skin off to there, but I didn't realise that that there is actually in front of the spar, and we were never going to get the skin that's been heavily bonded to the top cap strip of the spar. So we've just we reorganised ourselves, and we've just cut just in front of the fuel tank there, where my hand is. See, so I'll glue that back up and make that good again, no problem. So I'm quite confident that we can repair this wing. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not something I'd recommend, and you'd really want to know what you were doing. But I'm quite confident, I'm very confident that this is going to be fine. And as I said, we'll be able to fix that leaking tank and rebond this in a little bit better. So there you go. There's a Jabiru J160 wing, and we will be able to repair that fuel tank, and we won't have to put a tank in the back of the fuselage. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. To get the wing apart, we used wedges, and I used this long wedge here, and plastic wedges like here, fiberglass wedges. And we slowly, with a heat gun there, pried the wing apart. You can see it was actually quite easy. It didn't take a lot of effort to come apart. And because they'd used micro balloons here, that actually came apart reasonably easy. The only tricky bit was when we hit the spar, it was definitely not going to come apart. And we soon realised that it didn't want to come away from there. And that here is the skin. Oh, and the other thing we realised too is that there's no way you're getting that filler neck out, not without doing a fair bit of damage. So what we decided to do was cut a little square around it. As you can see, it's been very well glued. That's micro balloon sort of mix, which is sort of weaker, but that's not. That's solid fiberglass there. So that filler neck was never coming out. So we decided to just leave this piece there. And you can see there's the square where it goes. And that's the skin. So we will literally just glue that back on. And I'll reinforce the areas where I need to. It's got about a 3mm core mat in the glass there, so it's not a big deal. It hasn't been disturbed. Yeah, so that's how it goes. So we'll just put that back on later. Look. Get that out of the way. Once we've done all our repairs, we'll just put that back on there. This will have reinforcement underneath it and a carbon fibre cap there. And then along here, this will have carbon fibre cap, and I'll trough it out. And this is the area where it got damaged initially, so that'll be repaired. Now that's where it got creased. So when the wing hit the hangar door, it pulled it back, and it crushed this corner, and it cracked the tank. Right in the same area there, see? So the crack on the wing actually goes a little bit of creasing there. So that's obviously crushed in. There's just enough to do this damage here, delaminate that section of tank there where it's white, see? So that's your carry through for your attachment to the fuselage. So yeah, and there's your cable for your aileron. See? There we are here. Yeah, so to test the wings we put 40 litres of fuel in it, and it started weeping slowly out here. I knew it was coming from the fitting, so I knew the tank had a crack in it, and that's exactly where it's leaking there. Now, once the fiberglass, the resin got sort of shattered, even though the weave is still there, it's leaking. It's not sealed anymore, it's become porous. But the rest of the tank's okay. So that's the tank, yeah, 70 litres. Very interesting, we can fix that.